this monumental fifth show for Gridiron Glory. The viewer traffic has been pretty low, so I'd like to really thank you for just watching tonight and every other night you have. I really appreciate, and please tell others about this podcast. And we have our slip ups, and I just have one right there. And we're not perfect. We're kids, and it's just a lot of fun to do this, and it's just really great to know that great people just like you are out there listening to this podcast. It makes you really feel wonderful. And also thanks to all who followed us on Twitter at the Football Kids. That's at the Football Kids. We have over 250 right now, so we're going strong, and I really thank you all. And I'm sorry once again about the updates last weekend. We were unable to do that, but just really thank you. And all the viewer traffic on the blog, I once again appreciate that. And anyway, I'm Alexander Cook, and Cole Wolfgang unable to make it today. We're kids, and he's swamped with homework. He's been away for a lot of the time. I've been away once, so just things haven't really worked out. We were together 2 times. One time it went perfectly. It was basically an introduction of what we're going to do. Second time, we didn't hear Cole's voice. So we fixed that issue, but we need to get together and get this done. But we're still going to bring you everything you need to know, regardless of if everyone's here. But once again, remember, Cole will be here sometimes. Let's hope. He's swamped with homework. I saw a picture of it, and it's a lot. So just once again, I apologize about Cole being gone again, but homework comes first and schoolwork comes first. So let's start with the big event tonight, and along with the World Series, which we will talk about in just a second. It's the college football playoff rankings, the first set of rankings here after week 9 being released. And let's read them off to you. Number 25 is Washington State, 6-2. Number 24, Boise State at 7-1. Number 23, Western Michigan at 8-0. Number 22, Florida State at 5-3. Number 21, North Carolina at 6-2. Number 20, West Virginia at 6-1. Number 19, Virginia Tech at 6-2. Number 18, Oklahoma State at 6-2. Number 17, Baylor at 6-1. Number 16, Utah at 7-2. Number 15, Colorado at 6-2. Number 14, Oklahoma at 6-2. Number 13, Louisiana State, LSU at 5-2. Number 12, Penn State at 6-2. Number 11, Florida at 6-1. Number 10, Nebraska at 7-1. Number 9, Auburn at 6-2. Number 8, Wisconsin at 6-2. Number 7, Louisville at 7-1. Number 6, Ohio State at 7-1. Number 5, Washington at 8-0. And who's at number 4? We'll get to that, but let's just go over the easy ones first. Number 3, Michigan at 8-0. Number 2, Clemson at 8-0. And who's at number 1. It's Alabama at 8-0. But let's talk about who's at number 4. Just trying to remember real quick. Yeah, it's Texas A&M. 7-1, and we're going to be talking about that. A little bit of controversy in these rankings. Of course, things change a lot by the time the season ends, but let's talk about that Texas A&M at number 4 and a Washington number 5 controversy. And then a little bit down, you'll see the Penn State's at number 12. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but let's start with at the bottom of the list, anything major. Of course, number 25, Washington State, looking pretty good right now. Number 24, Boise State, just not looking very good in that loss to Wyoming due to a safety. So they are down there at number 24. Number 23, Western Michigan's on a roll, but they've had some close games. Expect them to have a close game tonight against Ball State. Right now, they're tied 7-7, but I do expect them to win. So does Cole. Right now, 8-0 on a roll. Number 22, Florida State, after a hard loss, once again for the Seminoles, against the Clemson Tigers, who are currently up at number 2. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Number 21, UNC on a roll. Number 20, West Virginia took a hard loss to Oklahoma State, who's now at number 18, and that was a very impressive win for the Cowboys. But the Big 12 really out of playoff contention after this week, just taking some tough losses. So did Baylor. We'll talk about that in just a second. Number 19, Virginia Tech on a winning streak. Huge win over Pittsburgh. It's a close game and a hard-fought win, but nevertheless a good win for the Hokies, who are in close contention with UNC to win that Coastal Division and face what will likely be Clemson in the ACC championship game. That will be primetime on ABC. But that's a long time from now. Let's stick with our current conversation. Number 18, Oklahoma State, of course, with that huge win over West Virginia. And a loss that should have never happened to Central Michigan. Subject to controversy right there. Number 16, Utah, hard fought in that loss, 31-24 against the Washington Huskies. And the environment was there. The playmakers were there. They were down 14-0 early. They came back and took a 17-14 lead, but just not enough to stop those Huskies, who are undefeated but out of the playoff right now. We'll talk about that in just a little bit as we get to that higher up point in the rankings. Number 15, Colorado, of course, on a roll. Big win over Stanford, which has really tumbled through the tubes. They haven't looked very good recently. Number 14, Oklahoma at 6-2, and they've been doing extremely well. Not the best opponents that they've played, but they're looking pretty good compared to that opening weekend against Houston and the time around then. Number 13, Louisiana State, LSU, and they've looked very good too. So really a huge win over Ole Miss. They have a bye week to prepare for a humongous game against Alabama, and we'll be previewing that on Friday night. So along with one other game, and that's Nebraska and Ohio State, some really big games over in college football. And now let's continue down that list to number 12, Penn State. And this is a subject of controversy, but during ESPN College Football Playoff Top 25, they talked to the chairman of the committee, and he said that look at Penn State's schedule. And if you actually look at Penn State's schedule, it's a pretty hard schedule. Even though they're sitting at 6-2, they've got that monumental, iconic win over Ohio State in that heated rivalry. So I think a very good team in Penn State, and they were having some trouble against Purdue early, but they just rolled 62-24 in the end. Florida sporting one of the best defenses in the nation, but a little lacking on that offensive side, enough to get the job done. They're currently 6-1. Number 10, Nebraska, and they faced a hard overtime loss against the Wisconsin Badgers, number 8 in the country right now. And they're still perched on top of the division. So if they can beat Ohio State, then they're fine as they move forward. And then we've got number 9, Auburn. And it was a hard-fought game against a very good Ole Miss team. And despite their record, they're very good. So it's a hard-fought game, but still another big win for Auburn. Number 8, Wisconsin, with that humongous overtime win at Camp Randall over Nebraska, which is now at number 10. Number 7, Louisville, struggling, barely pulling away with the win at Charlottesville, taking on Virginia last week. They ended up winning 32-25. They're 7-1 right now. And just not an impressive win puts them perched at number 7. Number 6, now we're getting to that area of outside looking in, Ohio State. And Ohio State's at 7-1 with that heartbreaker against the Penn State Nittany Lions. However, they did go into overtime against Wisconsin, which looked like a pretty good team. Not necessarily a playoff quality team, but a pretty good team. And Ohio State had their fair share of troubles against Northwestern, which is getting better, but they face a tough test at home at the Horseshoe when they face Nebraska. Number 5, Washington, and they once again they're coming off of a huge win against Utah. The Utes, it's just a heartbreaker, and just Washington got the job done. They're 8-0, but why aren't they at number 4? We're going to talk about that just a tiny bit. And then number 4, Texas A&M. Once again, they rolled over New Mexico State. Very impressive, but can that beat Washington's big win? I'll talk about that in just a little bit. Number 3, Michigan 8-0. And you know the committee's going to put them there. Big Ten team 8-0. Perched at number 3, but they haven't really faced a huge test, with the exception of Wisconsin, which isn't a humongous test. It's a test, but they haven't played that top tier team yet. So do they deserve to be at number 3? I'll talk about that in just a second as well. Number 2, Clemson, obviously coming off of a humongous win over a Doak Campbell against the Florida State Seminoles, which are a quality team despite their record. And number 1, Alabama, just having a bye week to prepare to go on the road in Death Valley. That's LSU's Death Valley, to play a very talented LSU Tiger football team. And Alabama is on a roll, but so is LSU. So who will win that game? We'll talk about that on Friday. So let's go back to those subjects of controversy. We'll start with Texas A&M and Washington. The committee says that because Texas A&M has had the harder schedule, has played the tougher opponents, A&M is currently higher in the rankings than Washington football. But let's say Washington wins out. So does Texas A&M. However, Alabama wins out. Then Texas A&M is not in the SEC championship game. There's no debate that whoever wins the SEC championship game is getting into the college football playoff. But no other SEC team's getting in. So there's no good reason right now to believe Washington won't eventually get in with the Pac-12 championship game win. But why are they out right now? Well, let's look at their schedule. Who they played? Non-conference, they played Rutgers and Portland State. They've also played Idaho. That's about as easy as it gets, and that's not championship football. Now, yeah, Texas A&M's played Prairie View A&M. They're going to play they've played New Mexico State. They're going to play Texas San Antonio. But they've also they played UCLA on their opener. Huge win for the Aggies. So, to be honest, just that one UCLA game looks a little bit more impressive than all of Washington's games. Let's talk about Washington's regular season schedule. They played Stanford, looked like a powerhouse back when they played, but now not really. Oregon, nothing. They used to be big, not anymore. Oregon State, nothing. Utah, a huge win, without question, a huge win there for the Huskies. And remember, they had to go into overtime to beat Arizona, and Arizona's not the best team in the world, so not exactly the best. Now, let's look at Texas A&M. They beat Auburn, which right now is on a roll, number 9. They beat Arkansas with flying colors, and Arkansas's a pretty good team. They're not in the top 25, but they're a decent team. They beat Tennessee, which at the time looked like a pretty good team, not anymore. And they stayed in the game with Alabama. They didn't stay in as good as Ole Miss did, but they stayed in the game. And that's a huge key. So do I agree with this? I personally agree with this. In fact, number 1 for me is Alabama. Of course, number 2 is Clemson. Number 3 for me is Texas A&M because of how hard their schedule is. I mean, playing SEC powerhouses plus throwing in UCLA, they didn't have to do that. They could have played Portland State every game. They had some easy games, but UCLA is a big boy. And when you throw all that into the mix, I put them at number 3. And then Washington, number 4, that signature win over Utah, and at the time, a signature win over Stanford, undefeated. And Michigan, here's the problem I have with them. Wisconsin's a quality team, it's a quality win. But for me, Michigan really hasn't played everybody. Yeah, they've rolled, but why aren't we giving Washington the same view as we're giving Michigan, just being pretty impressive? Because in the Pac-12, big wins don't count as much because the Pac-12 isn't valued as much as being in the Big Ten. The Big Ten's the big boy. The SEC, the Big Ten, even the ACC is kind of crawling in there, but Pac-12 and the Big 12, especially the Big 12, because they have no chance of getting into the playoff right now. The Pac-12 and the Big 12 kind of being shoved out, which is why I think Washington is not in that playoff. Now, of course, there's good reason for Michigan to be in there. They're a Big Ten team. They've had Big Ten wins. They haven't been signature, but they're Big Ten wins. But personally, I don't agree with it. I have Michigan number 5 and Ohio State number 6. I just haven't really been impressed by Ohio State. But we'll talk about my pick for that Nebraska game a little bit later. Now, here's what Cole's thought on that. His top 4 are number 1, Alabama. Of course, number 2, Michigan, way over Clemson. We'll talk about that in just a second. Number 3, Washington. Number 4, Clemson. And then, of course, the outliers, he has Texas A&M at number 5, Ohio State number 6. You can make the case. It's just, in my opinion, a screwed up ranking. Now, Alabama, of course, correct. Michigan, they haven't played anyone but Wisconsin. Get wrecked, Cole. And talk Washington over Clemson. Win over Louisville, which right now is in the top 10. Win over Florida State. Come on, man. They're undefeated. What are you talking about? You put Washington over Clemson? That's crazy. So I don't agree with this ranking. And then you throw the SEC team out at Texas A&M at number 5 with that strong schedule. Number 6, I agree with Ohio State. I think for the most part, his rankings are screwed up. But we'll discuss that at a later date. And this is the college football section of now a 2-part podcast that we're going to have on the NFL recap, and then also what we just talked about, the college football rankings being released. For some of you, you love the NFL. For some of you, love college football. If you love both, you just watch both. If you love one, you just pick one. So we're going to make it nice and easy for you. And hopefully, in just a few minutes, Cole's actually going to join us for the NFL section of this because he thinks he's done with his homework, but we'll see. Thank you for tuning into this first part of a 2-part Gridiron Glory podcast, episode 5, and have a wonderful evening of college football. And please follow us at the Football Kids. That's at the Football Kids, and check out our blog at Gridiron Glory, sportsblog.weebly.com. Finally, we'll give you our picks for tonight. I've got Western Michigan. I think it's going to be a close game against Ball State. Cole's got Western Michigan big. And now, in just a little bit, we'll be releasing our NFL section of this 2-part Gridiron Glory, episode 5. Have a wonderful night.